Have you ever wondered why some individuals achieve financial success while others struggle despite having similar opportunities? Our relationship with money is a complex one, and it impacts almost all stages of our lives. Yes, it's indeed needed for food, shelter, and also for all that fancy stuff that we want to buy. But most of us do not understand how our upbringing and socioeconomic factors influence our financial decisions. In this video, I'll share a few life lessons from one of my favorite books, The Psychology of Money. We'll discuss 7 invaluable insights such as the power of compounding, luck and risk, that the true meaning of wealth is freedom, being realistic is more important than being rational, and a lot more. Hi everyone, my name is Aiena. I'm a flight attendant and a cabin crew trainer. Apart from travel, other topics that excite me are leadership, health, and wellness. Welcome to this channel. This book is one of those life-changing ones if you delve deeper into it. It not only gives you advice about your financial life, but it has great tips about life in general. Morgan Housel starts this book with a beautiful example of a janitor who had $8 million when he died. To me, he's a true philanthropist because out of that 8 million, he left 6 million for the hospital and library in his locality and another 2 million for his stepkids. Mind you, he had no degree from an Ivy League college, or he didn't work for a big company. Interestingly, he also shares 2 stories of these high-flying executives. One had a degree from Harvard and the other one worked for a software company, and how they both went bankrupt. He's cautious in saying that these are just a few examples and everyone's life is different. So he's not generalizing everybody, but all these stories have a lesson for us. In fact, he asserts that understanding and managing money is a soft skill. Now, a lot of people who are highly invested in sophisticated spreadsheets and those finance models might disagree and say, oh no, it's all driven by numbers. However, you will see that he very beautifully adds that to understand why people bury themselves in debt, you don't need to study interest rates. You need to study the history of greed, insecurity, and optimism. That's where the first lesson comes in very aptly. No one's crazy. He very elegantly shares how your personal experiences and how you think the world works shape up your financial decisions. For example, if you were born in the US in the 1960s, inflation during your young impressionable years fluctuated quite a bit and it went up 3-fold. But imagine if you were born in the 1990s, you probably don't even think about inflation and price of different commodities, as it's been extremely low pretty much your entire life. Have a look at this graph to see how it changed for both groups of people. This difference is not only about you being born in different times, but also about being born in different countries. Imagine you were born in Germany or Japan after World War II. The economy of these 2 countries had completely wiped out, but the US economy had more than doubled from 1941 to 1945. Now, people from either group will not go through their lives thinking the same about inflation, stock market, unemployment, or money in general because of what they've gone through. So to conclude, no one's crazy because we all make decisions based on our unique experiences that seem to make sense to us in a given moment. It's also driven by our view of the bigger world, ego, pride, marketing, and even the incentives that lure us. If you go with that mindset, it's going to help you to be a little less judgmental about other people's. Connected to the first one, the second lesson is about luck and risk. Now, our capitalist world wants us to believe that you can get anything in life if you just worked hard. Morgan writes in this book that luck and risk are both the reality that every outcome in life is guided by forces other than individual effort. To prove his point that luck and risk play an important role in our lives, and mind you, I'm not saying that putting in hard work is not important, is that we don't give luck and risk their due importance in life. He proves this through an example. He talks in detail about how Bill Gates was born at the right time, in the right family, and even at the right place. He had a 1 in a million chance to have a computer during his early growing up years. He hits the point home by sharing the risk that Kent Evans, Bill Gates' 8th grade friend, faced. Kent died in a hiking accident, and you might be surprised to know that the odds of being killed on a mountain is also 1 in a million. If you deeply think about such things, I think you'll fall in love with Nassim Taleb's logic about the importance of random events that he eloquently shares in his book, Fooled by Randomness. Now, that's another great book, and maybe we'll talk about it some other day. Morgan concludes this chapter by writing that both luck and risk are hard to measure, equally hard to accept, and they are too often overlooked. This chapter will reshape your understanding of success and inspire you to approach luck and risk with a fresh perspective. Thirdly, and one of my favorite lessons, is confounding compounding. We've all seen the power of compounding over a long period of time. Compounding refers to the snowball effect of reinvesting profits, leading to exponential growth over time. This is how wealth is actually made. Sadly, we often underestimate the power of compounding because of our own bias for instant gratification. Our brains are quick in linear thinking. For example, 8 plus 8 plus 8 9 times is 72, and this is what the graph looks like. But imagine multiplying 8 by itself 9 times. It's nearly impossible for your brain to do that kind of math really quickly, unless you're a genius. It's 134,217,728. This is what the graph looks like. To drive this point home, he shares that out of 84.5 billion US dollars, Warren Buffett made 81.5 billion after his 65th birthday. His skill is no doubt investing, but his secret is time. The power of compounding is revealed over a long period of time. Morgan demonstrates how patience and consistency can turn even small investments into substantial wealth. This chapter will challenge your mindset and inspire you to make long-term financial decisions based on the power of compounding. Another favorite chapter of mine is freedom. Now, you can sense that I love this book, right? Anyway, so freedom from what? To understand that, let's understand the intrinsic value of money. Your unspent assets give you greater control and autonomy about what you want, when you want, with who you want, for how long you want is priceless, and that's the highest dividend money can pay. An emergency fund gives you greater ability to take up a job that might pay you a lower salary but has flexible hours, or you can quit if you have a toxic work culture, or you can even retire. Mind you, because of your emergency fund, this will not be an emotional decision, but you have the freedom to choose what kind of work gives you joy. Now, talking about emergency funds, I guess COVID taught us a lot about its importance, right? Let's talk about the control over our time a bit more in detail. Our control over time has reduced as compared to previous generations. Most of us work in what is called the services sector. Yes, our productivity has gone up because of our phones, our computers, but so has the amount of time that we are hooked to it. Sometimes for work and sometimes on social media for no reason. Because controlling your time is a key factor that influences our happiness, now none of us then should be surprised that some of us do not feel happier than our previous generations. Although on monetary terms, I think we are richer than them. And if you add FOMO to it, it can be a ticking time bomb. Some food for thought for you there. Another thought-provoking chapter is called Reasonable Greater Than Rationale. The first line of this chapter is a kicker. Let me read that out loud for you. You're not a spreadsheet, you're a person, a screwed up, emotional person. Let me repeat so that it sinks in. You're not a spreadsheet, you're a person, a screwed up, emotional person. The more we remind ourselves of the second part, the better we will be at decision making. Morgan introduces a powerful mindset shift that setting reasonable expectations is more beneficial than pursuing unrealistic goals. By recognizing the difference between achievable outcomes and blind optimism, we can make sustainable financial decisions and, even avoid unnecessary disappointments. This chapter explores the fine balance between ambition and contentment, guiding us towards a mindset that sets us up for long-term financial success. Lesson 6, the seduction of pessimism, challenges our natural inclination towards pessimistic thinking. Morgan reveals how our perception of risk and negative events impacts our financial decisions. He cautions us that pessimism has more appeal because it sounds smarter and more plausible than optimism. To me, it sells more too, right? Because if the news channel people tell you that the market will crash, now most of us in that situation will be hooked to our TV. But if the market is stable or is going up, you and I might not watch the channel a lot because everything is going on just fine. Have a look at this chapter. It will inspire you to adopt an optimistic yet rational approach to money, and it will unlock new opportunities on your path to building success and wealth. Pretty much all chapters in this book are amazing, but let me conclude with this fascinating and thought-provoking chapter, Getting Wealthy versus Staying Wealthy. In this captivating chapter, you learn that there's a stark difference between accumulating wealth and preserving it. Now, wealth creation requires taking risks, being optimistic, and putting yourself out there. But keeping money requires humility, frugality, fear that you might lose everything that you've made, and acceptance that luck had a role in your wealth building phase. One of the tips that he shares in this book is called margin of safety. According to him, it's one of the most underappreciated forces in finance. It can come in many forms such as frugal budget, flexible thinking, and a loose timeline. Now, these are great ways of thinking, and it's going to help you live a happy life in the long run. In this chapter, you'll discover the secrets to not only becoming wealthy, but staying wealthy for generations to come. Morgan ends the book with a postscript, which is a brief history of why the US consumer thinks the way they do. Now, certain parts of it are applicable to any capitalist country, and it's worth reading to understand how we got to where we are when it comes to consumerism. If you're intrigued by the psychology behind financial decisions that you make, I highly recommend that you give this book a read. On that note, till we meet again, Aina signing off, and may Goddess Lakshmi bless you with not only money and wealth, but also a balanced mind to use it for worthy causes.